Man, I feel like we're going through another shift, you know, with regards to the extent to which the Western media and European countries feel comfortable criticizing Israel. Look at the front page of AP News today. The latest child to starve to death in Gaza weighed less than when she was born. Jesus. Right above the Epstein photo. Yeah, well, you know, all plays into itself, doesn't it? Macron plans to recognize Palestine. We'll see if he actually does. I don't really trust him, to be honest with you. And apparently, Starmer is he intends to what is it? What did he say he was going to do? Reevaluate support. He's doing something. I trust him even less than I do Macron, of course. Starmer says plan to airdrop Gaza aid and evacuate ill children will go ahead. What's that saying? The suffering of being on the left is being correct too early and everyone hates you for it. We're coming in on like, you know, 2 years in. And finally people are like, oh my God, I think it might be a genocide. I don't know. Why is Macron going so hard for Palestine now? I don't think he's going hard for Palestine. I just think that, I mean, there's been a shift. He says he'll do it in September. We'll see. We're getting hit with the classic, one day everyone will have always been against this in real time and it fucking hurts. Yeah. 20 years from now, everyone is going to talk as though they were always opposed to this. Was this what it was like in 1943? No. For the most part, America was always against what Germany was doing to the Jews. Well, that's an overstatement. Like, overwhelmingly, American sentiment was anti-German from the for at least from 1939, but there was widespread condemnation well before that. What caused the shift, though? This one? I mean, it's been a long time coming, you know? As much as we've talked about how Americans have shifted against Israel over the past 2 years, that shift has happened even more in Europe, you know? Like that, the average European citizen fucking despises Israel. Also, a lot of Israelis, like, holiday over in Europe, so they probably have to deal with their insufferable behavior a little bit more often. I saw so many Israeli tourists in Greece when I was there. I mean, yeah, it's right there. It's right in the Mediterranean. It makes sense. Can't imagine that's great for PR, right? Imagine if all throughout World War II, there were, like, German citizens vacationing to Western countries, loudly talking about how their country's doing nothing wrong at that moment. You know, I feel like that would probably contribute a little bit to people's animosity. Was it just ideological opposition to fascism versus Germany? Because anti-Semitism was definitely common in 30s to 40s America. Yeah, America was definitely anti-Semitic, but there's a difference between being anti-Semitic broadly and being Nazi Germany, you know? Anti-Semitism in America in the 1930s and 1940s was nowhere near as structured, organized, or openly malicious as what the Nazis were doing from, like, 33 onwards, you know? Or 32 onwards, I don't know. It's just totally different in scale. Even though the full details of the Holocaust weren't known until after the war, like, people still had a pretty good idea what was going on there. We hosted a Nazi party in the 30s promoting trad values and whiteness. Don't do Nazi propaganda for them. Yes, there was an American Nazi party. Yes, they played at Madison Square Garden. No, they were never popular. Don't do that bullshit. Nazis love to say that. They say, no, Nazism was popular in America up until, like, wartime opposition and our alliance with, you know, France and the UK made it politically unviable. That's not true. People didn't like the Nazis back then either, in America, before the war started. Europe was so anti-Semitic. Yeah, but not like the way the Germans turned out to be. I'm just saying, don't do their propaganda, because Nazis love to pretend that they were only made unpopular due to, like, being on the opposite side of an alliance wall. It's not true. Yes, Adam, man, I saw. Got a little bit of a headache. Hold on. The French had a Jewish prime minister before the Second World War, not to say there wasn't a shit ton of anti-Semitism. I just feel like people, especially Americans, really tend to flatten this history, where in an effort to point out that America also bad, we make arguments like, the Nazis were popular in America before World War II, or did you know that, like, America was just as anti-Semitic as the Nazis or whatever, and shit, like, just totally made up shit. People really do. You got to understand. I know you're circling back around to the normie position on this one. You have to understand how uniquely bad the Nazis were. It's very ahistorical, you know? You have to, you can't do this like, well, through my broad perspective and analysis of history has led me to believe that actually lots of groups were bad. Yeah, lots of groups were bad. The Nazis were uniquely bad. Still in Seattle, Salty Internet Pirate. Nazis made a lot of scientific and technological advancements for society. No, they didn't. A common misunderstanding. It's not true, I'm afraid. They were actually, like, really fucking bad at it for a wide variety of reasons. My God, I hate that talking point. Well, to be fair, it is commonly believed in the West by non-Nazis, because we have obsessively described them as this, like, evil order of, like, hyper-Puritan, hyper-competent, ultra warfighters or whatever, when in reality they were, you know, methed up sex fiends and teenagers who were overwhelmingly anti-science, you know? It's just, it's not true. We always do these alt history, like, sci-fi, you know, bullshit, where the Nazis, oh, they have lasers, oh, they have, like, futuristic tanks or whatever. We really don't. We give them way too much credit. Way too much credit. People always bring up the Nazis were making a nuke before the US, but never said why the project was canceled. Yeah, and the only reason they even got that close, the Nazis, was because they took advantage of the fact that the Weimar Republic had a bunch of, what was like a hub of scientific innovation. Like, that wasn't the Nazis. The Nazis just took over in the country that already had, you know, a bunch of Heisenberg motherfuckers in them. And most of them left. Because half of them were Jewish. And even the ones that stayed, the Nazis were like, no, we think this is Jewish science, this particle physics. You will focus on real science, building tanks so big it's sinking the ground. Like, and that was their contribution. The Nazis only interfered with the scientific process. Some non-Jewish scientists bailed too. I would also bail if I out of Nazi Germany in like 1934 if I could. That's also probably something that I would want to get out of, you know? In my humble opinion. Literally ignoring me, Vaush? Yeah, because you're being really annoying. Humanitarian boat intercepted by Israel. Handala aid ship moving south to avoid Egyptian authority. Islam, Instagram, fuck Zionism, liberals, multiple, fascists, concrete. I know you see all, but can you cover the aid ship going to Gaza that's being intercepted by Egypt? The aid boat's currently under attack. Vaushites not allowed their way. You're lucky I didn't ban you, man. Holy shit. I'm in the middle of talking about something else. You're gonna a dozen messages? Yes, Israel boards aid ships. I'm aware. Thank you. Like, I'm not saying that the news is invalid or not worth covering. I'm just saying, like, what the fuck? I'm talking about something else. You can't spam me. I can't conform everything that I talk about to the exact moment that there's an Instagram live covering it. It's going on right fucking now. I don't know how it's not the thing we're talking about. Could you be empathetic? Okay, but it's actively happening. So is this live stream, motherfucker. Lots of things are actively happening all the time. Lots of, there are live streams covering stuff going on right now. There's conflicts. There's between Cambodia and Thailand. There's 50 million live streams detailing stuff going on in Israel. What do you do? You have to make conscious decisions about what you're going to focus your attention on at any given point. You can't get mad at me because I haven't chosen to align my interests with yours at that exact moment. Literally ignoring me. I get it. Greta isn't on this boat, so it doesn't matter. Don't be a cunt. Come on. Seriously? I am a cunt, to be fair. Okay, well, you shouldn't own that and take a 7-day break. What the hell, man? Why would you own that? You can't, come on. It's such a lame thing to do when your behavior is called out and you're like, well, I'm just like that. Okay, well, then I'm just like this. It's just very rude. It's very rude. Yeah, this is not a situation where owning it improves anything. Isn't that the same take as, yeah, I'm a fascist? I agree. I think the person trying to get me to watch Israel boarding an aid boat, essentially, it's just like they admitted to being a fascist. I agree with that. I think that's probably true.